Hello, everyone. Most people think they need something outside of themselves to win, a strategy, a resource, a lucky break. But what they fail to understand is that success doesn't start with resources. It starts with your state. Every thought you have, every action you take, every decision that shapes your life is filtered through the emotional and physical state you're in at that moment. You want to build an unstoppable mindset. Then learn to master your state. First, always, your state is the energy you bring into the moment. It's your focus, your physiology, your emotion, all working together in real time. If you're in a state of fear, doubt, or overwhelm, no matter how good your plan is, you'll sabotage it. If you're in a peak state, grounded, focused, energized, you'll make moves that look impossible to someone else. It's not that they're incapable, it's that they're in the wrong state. People talk about mindset like it's just positive thinking. But mindset is a living thing. It's built moment by moment, choice by choice, and it begins by taking control of the only thing you can command instantly, your state. You don't need years of training to do it. You can change your state in a second. You can shift your focus, move your body, breathe with power, speak with certainty. And when you do, your brain follows your body. Your emotions align with your energy. That's when you stop reacting and start creating. When you feel stuck, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been living in a low state. You've let the external world dictate your internal power. You've conditioned yourself to operate from fear, not from vision, but you can shift it. You can interrupt the old patterns. You can condition a new normal. The question is, are you willing to own your state before you own your results? Too many people wait to feel motivated, wait to feel confident, wait until circumstances change, but waiting is a trap. You must learn to generate what you need from within, because if you can create the right state, you can conquer any situation. You can walk into the same chaos others run from and lead. You can take the same pain others collapse under and rise, not because life is easier, but because your state is stronger. You've got to prime your mind and body for the life you say you want. Not once, daily, not when you feel like it, especially when you don't. That's where the edge is. That's how you go from being average to unstoppable, because most people react to life. The few who lead their state create life. They wake up and take command of their energy. They move, they breathe, they focus with intention. They don't wait to feel great. They create great. And this isn't just motivational fluff, it's neuroscience and performance psychology. Your brain responds to patterns, it responds to movement, it responds to breathe. When you slump your body and sigh and repeat the story of how hard things are, your nervous system gets the message. But when you stand up tall, breathe with strength, focus on what you're here to do, everything changes. You shift from victim to leader, from stuck to driven. That's the choice in every moment, to let your state be default, or make it deliberate. To let emotions control you, or use emotions as fuel. Your state determines your standards determine your behavior, and your behavior determines your life. But it all starts inside. That's the switch. That's the real power. Every morning you've got two choices. Carry the weight of yesterday or generate the fire of today. And it's not a mystery. You already know what puts you in a powerful state. Maybe it's movement, music, gratitude, breath, purpose. Whatever it is, own it, use it, ritualize it, because the more you train your nervous system to access that state, the more it becomes your new baseline. Look at the greatest leaders, athletes, creators. They don't always have more talent, but they've trained themselves to show up in the right state when it counts. Pressure doesn't break them. It reveals the strength they've conditioned. You want to win in life? Then practice being unshakable when others fall apart. That's not ego, that's ownership. That's the result of showing up for yourself over and over, even when it's hard. Your state is the doorway to everything else. Want to make better decisions? Start with your state. Want to show up as a better parent, partner, leader? Master your state. Want to change your story and finally become the version of yourself you know you're meant to be? It begins with deciding that your internal world will not be a reflection of your circumstances. It will be a reflection of your standards. You don't control everything in life, but you always control how you show up. And if you can own that, truly own that, then there's nothing you can't face, nothing you can't grow through, and nothing you can't create. Because you won't be reacting to life, you'll be directing it. Not from fear, not from doubt, but from a place of absolute clarity, power, and intention. That's how an unstoppable mindset is born, not through luck, not through ease, but through the decision to live from power, not passivity. And it starts every day with the same commitment: master your state. First, always. Everyone wants to feel powerful, to feel unstoppable, but few are willing to do what it takes to get there. Most people try to avoid pain, to numb it, ignore it, or run from it. But the truth is, pain is not your enemy. Pain is your greatest teacher, your most honest mirror. The key to building an unstoppable mind is not in escaping the pain, it's in transforming it into power. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary did so not in spite of their pain, but because of what they chose to do with it. You've been through things, some of it wasn't fair, some of it hurt deeply. Maybe people let you down, betrayed your trust, told you who you could or couldn't be. Maybe you failed. Maybe you felt invisible. But here's the truth. Pain is part of the human experience. What separates those who rise from those who stay stuck is not what happened to them. It's what they chose to make it mean. It's how they decided to respond. Pain reveals what you value, where you've been holding back, and what must change. It strips away the noise and shows you what matters, and when you stop resisting it, when you face it, when you look it dead in the eye and say, "I'm not running anymore," that's when you unlock a new level of strength. Because the pain isn't what weakens you, it's your story about the pain. The moment you decide to use that pain as fuel instead of a cage, you reclaim your power. Think about it. Every breakthrough begins with discomfort. Growth doesn't feel good in the moment. It stretches you. It challenges everything you thought you knew. But if you're willing to stay in it, if you're willing to breathe through it instead of breaking under it, you emerge stronger, clearer, more dangerous in the best way possible. That's where confidence is built, not in the win, but in the battle. Too many people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, but comfort is where dreams go to die. Comfort is where average lives. If you want to become unstoppable, you've got to lean into the places that scare you. You've got to run toward the thing you've been avoiding, not to suffer, but to claim the lesson, to take back control. Because the minute you stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation, everything shifts. When you turn pain into power, you stop waiting for motivation, you stop needing someone to rescue you, you become the fire, you become the force, you stop blaming, and you start creating. And that's where true resilience is born. Not from getting everything right, but from getting back up after everything went wrong. Again and again, you're not fragile, you're not broken, you're untested. And the pain you felt, that was life knocking on your door, asking, "How bad do you want it? Who will you become now?" Your answer is not in your words, it's in your actions. It's in your refusal to quit. It's in your ability to stand when others fold. That's not just grit. That's identity. That's a person who's done negotiating with mediocrity. And here's something most people miss. Your pain is also your connection to others. The struggle you've survived, that's your gift. That's your credibility. That's the reason people will trust you, follow you, be inspired by you. Not because you're perfect, but because you felt the fire and chose not to let it burn you down. You chose to build something with it instead. When you look back on the hardest moments of your life, I guarantee you'll see something else too, that you didn't just survive, you evolved, you became someone else. Stronger, sharper, more focused, and even if you didn't know it at the time, you were laying the foundation for a mindset that could never be broken. So the next time pain shows up, and it will, don't run. Don't numb it, don't drown it out with distractions, lean in, ask yourself, what is this here to teach me? Where is it directing me to grow? The answer might not come right away, but if you stay present, if you stay honest, it will come. And when it does, you'll rise with a new level of clarity and purpose that nothing and no one can take from you. The people who win in life are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who decided that nothing would stop them. They're the ones who said, "I'll use this, I'll grow from this, I'll lead because of this." They didn't wait to feel powerful. They became power because they refused to waste their pain. And this is how the unstoppable mindset is forged. Not in the light, but in the fire. Not when things are smooth, but when everything feels like it's breaking. That's the moment of truth. That's when you decide if you're going to let life shape you, or if you're going to shape life. And the beauty of it is, you get to choose, so don't pray for easy. Don't wish it didn't happen. Own it. Use it. Turn that pain into the power that drives you to build, to rise, to lead, because when you do, you won't just inspire others, you'll become undeniable. Everyone wants strength, but few are willing to train for it. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. Just like a muscle, your mind grows stronger through repetition, pressure, and intentional practice. An unstoppable mindset is not a gift, it's a discipline. You don't just hope for it, you condition it daily, especially when it's hard. The truth is, most people train their bodies more than their minds, if they train at all. They go to the gym, they run, they eat clean, they track results. But what about the mind? What about the most powerful tool you have? Your body can be in shape, but if your mind collapses under pressure, if your thoughts spiral when things get tough, then you're not truly strong. You're only as strong as your weakest thought pattern. Mental conditioning means you don't just wait for confidence to appear. You create it. You don't wait to feel ready. You make yourself ready through repetition. You program your beliefs, your focus, your emotions like software, and you upgrade it with intention. You train your mind to work for you, not against you, because the mind, if left on autopilot, will default to safety. It will search for comfort, not growth. It will feed doubt, not certainty, and comfort never made anyone unstoppable. Your mind must be challenged. It must be tested. That's how it sharpens. That's how you develop grit, clarity, resilience. Not by reading a book, not by hearing a quote, but by doing the work daily. Mental reps, emotional reps, asking yourself the hard questions, pushing your limits, facing the discomfort and staying in it just long enough to level up. Conditioning the mind means being deliberate with your inputs. You guard what you consume. You stop letting the news, opinions, and fear-driven voices pollute your focus. You feed your mind with growth, truth, vision, gratitude, purpose. Not once a week, but every single day. Just like a champion fuels their body before battle, you fuel your mind before life throws its punches. And it's not just about what you take in. It's about what you say to yourself. The language you use matters. The story you repeat to yourself matters. If you tell yourself you're tired, you'll feel exhausted. If you tell yourself you're overwhelmed, you'll find more reasons to shut down. But if you shift that language, if you declare that you're growing, that you're built for pressure, that you're getting sharper through the storm, your brain listens, your body follows, and your identity starts to align with a stronger version of you. But this doesn't happen by accident. It's a decision every day. It's waking up and doing the mental work before life does it for you. It's taking full ownership of your focus. You decide what matters. You decide what deserves your attention. Most people waste energy on things they can't control. They react to everything. But if you're going to be unstoppable, you have to train your focus like a laser. You put it on what matters, you put it on what you can influence, and you let everything else fade into the background. There's a saying, where focus goes, energy flows. You want to change your results. Start by training your focus, condition it like a champion, cut distractions, kill excuses, create rituals, build habits that reinforce the person you want to become, because discipline is not just about doing hard things, it's about becoming someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness. And when the pressure hits, and it always does, you rely on your conditioning, not motivation, not hype, but habits, muscle memory of the mind. You stay calm when others panic. You stay clear when others crumble. Why? Because you've already lived this moment in your mind 1,000 times. You've trained for it. You didn't wait for the storm to prepare. You built your mindset so that when the storm came, you stood taller. This is the edge, the daily discipline to condition your thoughts, your reactions, your beliefs, to expect resistance and still move forward, to see challenge not as a threat, but as a trigger for growth. Because the world doesn't care about your potential, it only responds to what you execute, and execution comes from belief. Belief comes from repetition, and repetition is the essence of mental conditioning. Think of the greatest performers, the greatest leaders. They don't wake up hoping today goes well. They prime their mind to dominate. They visualize success. They rehearse how they'll respond under pressure. They repeat the same fundamentals until they become second nature, not because they are obsessed with control, but because they refuse to leave their future to chance. If you want to rise above the average, you have to train above the average. Your mind must be tougher than your circumstances. You must be able to walk into chaos and stay focused, to feel fear and move anyway, to face failure and keep your standard. That kind of strength isn't random, it's conditioned. Built day by day in silence, built in the early mornings, the quiet moments, the decisions no one else sees. That's the price of being unstoppable. Not luck, not talent, but daily commitment to becoming someone who doesn't break. Someone who leads themselves before leading others. Someone who has conditioned their mind to serve them, not sabotage them. So if you're tired of starting over, train your mind not to quit. If you're tired of doubting yourself, train your mind to fight back. If you're ready to become the one who rises no matter what, then stop hoping and start conditioning, every day, every thought, every decision, because once your mind is unstoppable, your life will be too. Every breakthrough in life comes from a shift in belief. It doesn't start with external change. It begins in the mind with a decision to challenge the old story and write a new one. The truth is, most people are living inside invisible walls built from limiting beliefs. These beliefs weren't chosen, they were absorbed, from parents, from society, from past failures, from fear. And those beliefs become the lens through which they see every opportunity, every obstacle, every part of themselves. You want to build an unstoppable mindset, you've got to break the old patterns and rewire those beliefs from the inside out. What you believe about yourself, about the world, about what's possible, it determines your actions. And your actions shape your destiny. So if deep down you believe you're not good enough, that you always fail, that success is for other people, you'll unconsciously live that story out, no matter how hard you work. Because the mind always seeks to prove itself right. That's why transformation doesn't begin with trying harder. It begins with believing differently. You have to identify the lies you've been carrying. Those subtle, quiet thoughts that whisper in the background, I'm not ready, I always mess things up, people like me don't win. That's not truth, that's programming, and just like any program, it can be rewritten. But first, you have to become aware of it. You have to catch yourself in the act, notice the voice, challenge it, and ask, who told me that? Where did I learn that? And is it serving me? Here's the secret. You don't need permission to believe in something bigger. You don't need anyone to validate your new story. You just need to choose it, own it, and act from it every day, because belief isn't passive, it's active. It's not just something you feel, it's something you do. You back it up with action, and every time you follow through on the new belief, you reinforce it. You condition it until it becomes your default, until it's no longer something you try to believe. It's something you live. And yes, it takes repetition. It takes emotional intensity. It takes disrupting the old pattern over and over. But once that shift happens, once you fully step into a new belief system, everything changes. The same situations now look different. The same challenges now feel smaller because you've grown larger than the problem. That's what rewiring belief does. It gives you a new identity, a stronger one. One that doesn't break when things get hard. You don't build an unstoppable mindset by adding fluff. You build it by removing the lies, by stripping away the false stories and revealing what's been true all along. You are more powerful than you've ever allowed yourself to believe. But power without belief is like having a weapon you never touch. You have to pick it up, you have to use it, and that starts by seeing yourself not as a victim of your past, but as the author of your future. And that doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing a belief that serves your highest potential, not your deepest fear. You can believe that failure means you're not good enough, or you can believe that failure is feedback. You can believe that you're stuck, or you can believe that you're being shaped. One belief drains you, the other fuels you. The facts don't change, but the meaning does, and meaning is everything. Look at anyone who's done something extraordinary. They didn't get there by accident. They rewired their mind. They questioned the beliefs that kept them small, and they replaced them with ones that pulled them forward, not once, constantly. Because even when you've grown, the old beliefs will try to creep back in. You've got to be vigilant. You've got to guard your mind like your life depends on it, Because it does. If you believe you can lead, you will act like a leader. If you believe you can win, you will find ways to win. If you believe you are meant for more, you will stop settling for less. And this isn't magic, it's alignment. Your beliefs direct your focus. Your focus drives your decisions, and your decisions create your reality. So if you want to change your life, stop trying to force it from the outside, go inward, rewire the story, upgrade the belief, because the real battle is never out there, it's between your ears. And when you win that battle, the world begins to reflect the shift inside you. Not because the world changed, but because you did. That's why this process matters. It's not just about self-help, it's about liberation. It's about freedom from the lies that were never yours to begin with. It's about stepping into the mindset of a creator, not a reactor, a leader, not a follower, a champion, not a casualty. And when you do that, when you reclaim control of your beliefs, you become dangerous to limitation. You become unstoppable not because life gets easier, but because your mindset becomes stronger than anything life throws at you. So today, ask yourself, what do I believe? Is it building me or breaking me? And am I willing to trade the old story for the one I was born to live? Because that shift right there, that's where unstoppable begins. We don't get what we want. We get what we tolerate. That's the raw truth. You want to build an unstoppable mindset, raise your standards, not just in what you expect from the world, but in what you demand from yourself. Your life right now is a direct reflection of the standards you've accepted. The quality of your thoughts, your habits, your relationships, your results. They all reflect the level you've settled at. If you want to rise, then you've got to decide, enough is enough. You have to get to a point where average is no longer acceptable. People often confuse goals with standards. A goal is something you hope to achieve. A standard is something you refuse to live without. There's a massive difference. A goal is in the future. A standard is now. A goal sounds like I want to be in great shape. A standard says, this is the level I live at, no matter what. One is a wish, the other is an identity. Every transformation begins with a line in the sand. That moment where you say, I will no longer live below this level. You raise your standard and your actions rise with it, because you no longer tolerate excuses. You no longer allow delay. You no longer need motivation. You're driven by identity. That's where real power lives. The truth is, we all have standards. The question is, are yours keeping you small or pulling you higher? What do you consistently accept? What do you brush off with, it's fine? What areas of your life have you been making excuses for instead of demanding more? These are hard questions, but necessary ones, because until you raise the floor, you'll never hit the ceiling. You've got to expect more from yourself than anyone else expects from you. Think about it. Champions are not created by chance. They live by non-negotiable standards. They show up on the hard days, not just the easy ones. They hold themselves to excellence, even when no one's watching. It's not about perfection. It's about integrity with yourself, keeping the promises you make when no one's clapping, when no one's cheering. That's the foundation of unstoppable. And here's what happens when you raise your standards. Everything around you starts to shift. You stop tolerating weak thoughts. You stop entertaining low-energy conversations. You stop accepting relationships that drain you. You start walking differently, talking differently, showing up with a fire that people feel the moment you enter a room. Because your energy reflects your standard, you want to be respected. Start respecting yourself at a higher level. You want results. Demand more from your focus, your time, your execution. You want fulfillment. Stop settling for what's available and start reaching for what's aligned. That's what an unstoppable mindset looks like. Not someone waiting for life to hand them what they want, but someone who says, this is who I am, this is how I live, and I will not bend that standard to fit someone else's comfort. And that's not ego, it's self-leadership. It's refusing to betray yourself for the approval of others. It's knowing that every time you lower your standard to fit in, to be liked, to avoid discomfort, you chip away at your own greatness. You dull the edge that makes you powerful. But when you hold your line, when you stay rooted in what you know you're capable of, you grow into the person that others can't ignore. Raising your standard also means taking extreme ownership. No more blaming the economy, your boss, your past, your parents. The moment you own it all, you take back your power. You stop being a passenger and start driving the direction of your life. That doesn't mean everything goes perfectly. It means no matter what happens, you're responsible for how you respond, how you grow, and how you rise. And when you slip, and you will, you correct fast. You don't justify. You don't spiral. You adjust. Because people with high standards don't let bad days become bad habits. They don't live in excuses. They course, correct, and keep moving. That's resilience, that's discipline, and it's built by refusing to live at a level beneath your potential. You raise your standard and the world responds, maybe not overnight, but it happens. Opportunities shift. People shift, your internal dialogue shifts, and over time you build a life that reflects that new level. Not because it was easy, but because you stopped negotiating with mediocrity. You decided your dreams were worth more than your excuses. So ask yourself, what am I tolerating? What have I allowed to slide? Where am I playing small when I know I was built for more? The answers might sting, but that's the point. Growth begins in the discomfort of truth, and it flourishes when you align your daily actions with the highest standard of who you're becoming. This isn't about hype. This is about ownership, about setting a bar that challenges you, that stretches you, that forces you to evolve. Not for the world, for you, because at the end of the day, your standard is your signature. It tells the world what you're about. And if you want to be unstoppable, that signature better scream excellence, discipline, and non-negotiable commitment to your vision. Raise the standard, refuse to settle, and watch how your life rises to meet you. Most people spend their lives reacting to circumstances, reacting to people, reacting to problems. But the moment you decide to become the creator of your life instead of a reactor to your environment, everything changes. An unstoppable mindset isn't built by waiting for life to go your way. It's built by becoming the kind of person who shapes life by design, regardless of what comes your way. And to do that, you need to cultivate vision with absolute clarity and live with relentless purpose. Vision isn't about fantasy. It's about direction. It's the picture in your mind that pulls you forward when motivation fades and setbacks hit. Without vision, you drift. You wake up without urgency. You work without meaning. You endure instead of pursue. But when you have a crystal clear vision, when you see, feel, and believe in the future you're building, you move with intention. You act with power. You stop chasing distractions and start creating alignment. And let's be clear, vision alone won't change your life. Everyone has dreams. Everyone has someday goals. But vision without purpose is just a nice idea. What makes it real, what gives it fire, is when you attach it to something deeper, something emotional, something that lights you up and also scares you a little. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you decide. It's the reason behind the action, the fuel behind the discipline. And when your vision and purpose lock in together, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you no longer need perfect conditions to move forward. You stop asking for permission. You stop needing approval. You stop waiting to feel ready. Because you know where you're going, and you know why it matters. And that clarity is rare in a world filled with noise. That clarity is what gives you the edge. But here's the catch. Vision doesn't mean you'll always feel inspired. Purpose doesn't mean it will always feel exciting. There will be days when nothing makes sense, when you question everything, when doubt creeps in and pressure weighs heavy. That's when your purpose becomes your anchor. That's when your vision becomes your compass. And that's when the mindset you've built keeps you moving forward. Because people who win don't operate off of how they feel in the moment. They operate off of who they've decided to become. They've made the commitment that no matter what happens around them, they will stay aligned with what matters most. They don't chase shiny objects. They don't quit when things get tough. They endure, they adjust, they evolve, because their future means more than their excuses. Your environment will test you. Life will throw detours, delays, and disappointments. But if your internal world is strong, if your vision is real, and your purpose is solid, you become immune to distraction. You become centered, focused, driven by mission, not mood, and that kind of alignment creates momentum. Every decision becomes easier. Every action becomes sharper. Every challenge becomes fuel. vision and purpose also eliminate confusion. Most people are overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they don't know what matters most. They say yes to everything because they're not rooted in a strong why. But when you're clear on your purpose, the decisions get simple. Not always easy, but simple. You know what fits, you know what doesn't. You stop chasing random goals and start executing on the one that moves the needle. That's how you accelerate, that's how you rise. Not by doing more, but by doing what matters most with more intensity, more consistency, and more belief. And belief comes from alignment. When your life reflects your vision and your actions reflect your purpose, confidence is automatic. You don't have to fake it. You feel it because you're living congruently. But if you're not clear, if you're not living with purpose, you'll always feel off. You'll succeed and still feel empty. You'll work hard but wonder why you're exhausted instead of fulfilled. That's not burnout from effort, it's burnout from misalignment, because success without purpose is just stress. Movement without vision is just motion, and if you're not there yet, that's okay. You can decide today to get clear, to stop waiting and start defining what this life is really about for you, what you want to create, who you want to become, what legacy you want to leave behind, not for the world's applause, but because deep down you know you were made for more than just getting through the day. Start by asking the questions that matter. What do I want my life to stand for? What impact do I want to make? What version of me do I need to become to live that out fully? Those answers don't show up overnight, but they start showing up the moment you start asking, the moment you stop settling for the default life and start building the designed one. When you have vision, you lead yourself even when no one else sees it yet. When you have purpose, you endure setbacks because the mission is bigger than the moment. And when both are alive in you, your mindset shifts from fragile to fierce, from reactive to creative, from average to unstoppable. That's the edge, that's the difference, that's the mindset that doesn't just survive, but dominates. And the good news, you don't have to find it outside of you, it's already there, waiting for you to activate it, own it, and walk in it every single day. Vision, purpose, and belief, flock those in, and there's nothing that can stop you.